Am I live? Am I live, ladies and gentlemen? This is exciting. Every week's the same. I hit the button. And then the thing is, with the software I'm using, you hit the button, go, it says go live, right? And you hit the button, and then there's another button to hit. So I hit it, just ready to go live. And then I look and go, oh, crap. It's I'm not live yet, but am I live? Make a comment. Make a comment. But as far as I know, hang on, I'm just going to turn on my my mystery block. Hang on a second. There we go. There's my mystery block, my Mario mystery block in the corner. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and whoever may be watching from Mars. This is the second 5G4D stream of 2024. And today, evening, Matt Green, good evening. Yeah, so the plan is, what the plan was is I'm going to go through, I've made a geek list on Board Game Geek, and I'm going to go through my Knizia games that I've played. It's my memory. I might have missed some. Oh, Paul Plumridge coming through live and clear. Thank you very much, Paul. And yeah, just going to talk about Knizia as a designer because I think he's just so significant. And my relationship with Knizia has been fascinating because basically for the first half, at least, of being into modern games, I knew the name, but I didn't really get it. I didn't understand Reiner Knizia and why he was so spectacular. I will say hi to Tabuletto, but I'm at home. Tabuletto lives at Steve's. Maybe we'll get Tabuletto on one day. You know, I don't know whether the world is ready yet for the truth he's spitting, but you know. Hey Peter, how's it going? I hear you're moving to Berlin. That's very exciting. Anyway, so yeah, so I'll have a little chat about Knizia and sort of my experience because I've met him a few times and sort of my experience with him and all of that. And then, then we'll go through this geek list of all the Knizia games I've played, and you can tell me what a moron I am about what I think and that. But you know, here's the stream. This is a Gesamtkunstwerk. So I'm going to start by playing you a song. And I'm going to start with one of. In my teenage years, I had basically two favorite bands. One and then followed by the other. My first one was Dead Kennedys because I was young and angry and left wing and all of that good stuff. And then the second one was Pavement when I was sort of a bit older. And I went to see them live last year when they played in Berlin. And apart from the fact that the live venue had chairs for some reason, which was a bit funny, it was great. It was great to see them. It's the third or fourth time I've seen them, I think. And yeah, this is one of my favorite Pavement songs I'm going to open with. And it's a cracker. It's off Crooked Rain and that. All right. Just got to put the capo on the right fret. Hang on a second. And for some reason, there's something wrong with the second fret of my guitar. And so it doesn't like the capo. And it takes a while to seat the capo on it. Because that sounds terrible, doesn't it? Hang on a second. It's still very rattly and weird. Hang on a minute. Oh, that sounds nice. All right, so this is off Crooked Rain. It's Gold Sounds. It's a tune. I'm just going to put the auto scroll on the old website. Go back to those gold sounds. Keep my advent to yourself because it's nothing I don't like. Sorry, I'm getting rattle on the thing. That sounds all right, doesn't it? Yeah, something wrong with the second fret on my guitar. It's not a very expensive guitar. Go back to those gold sounds. Keep my advent to yourself because it's nothing I don't like. Is it a crisis or a boring change when it's central, so essential? It has a nice ring when you laugh at the low-life opinion. And they're coming to the chorus now. I keep my address to yourself, 'cause we need secret. We need secret, creds back right now. Because I never want to make you feel that you're so sure never ignorant soul. Believe in what you wanna do, and do you think that it's a major flaw when there hasn't been the falling rain? And if you stay around with your knuckles ground down, the trial's over, weapons found. Keep my address to myself, 'cause we need secret. We need secret, cracks right now. So drunk in the August sun, and you're the kind of girl I like, because you're empty and I'm empty, and you can never quarantine the past. You remember in December, but I won't meet you when I'm gone. And if I go there, I won't stay there, because I'm sitting here too long. And I've been sitting here too long, and I've been wasted advocating that word for the last word. Last will come up, gonna have to wait. There we go, Pavement. If you don't know Pavement, get on them. You can stream everything nowadays. Yeah, and also, last stream got copyright struck. Well, not copyright struck. If I was making money off these streams, which I'm not, the money would have gone to the owner of the Elliott Smith song I played at the beginning of the stream. So this is the game of wondering what song is going to get picked up by the algorithm this week. Excellent. So, yeah, Reiner Knizia. So write in the comments what you think about Knizia. I think it's become sort of fairly established now that Knizia is probably the greatest living gaming designer, and not just because of his sheer output, which is nuts, quite frankly, but the fact that he seems to think ludologically. There is something just simply astonishing about his designs. If you look at sort of modern Eurogame design, I think it's fascinating that you have so many of these modern Eurogames. Not that they're bad necessarily, but to get depth, complication is introduced. And what's fascinating about Knizia is he has so many games, even if they're relatively simple games, that are deep, very difficult. The decision space is very difficult. And yet, it's very simple. 3 or 4 rules. You look at all of his great designs, and we'll go through, most of them are in my list of games I've played. And he seems to just be a natural game designer in a way that there are certain modern game designers that actually have quite a lot of renown, and I'm not going to mention any names because I'm not here to slag people off, that don't feel like natural game designers, that feel like people who pick from other things, slam them together, and they feel overly complex, overburdened with rules, and sometimes, and you can never, I guess, really divine someone's intentions, but they feel like they're expressing their intelligence through the complexity of their game design. So what are your Knizia games? What are the ones that really fire your cannon? And what is it about Knizia, do you think? So Peter said, we play most of his games as a family. So Battle Line, Husband and Wife, Llama, and Age of War with the kid. But I need to play his bigger games with a group. I love the 3 I mentioned. Yeah, it's... And the thing is, what's fascinating about Knizia is that he has a game for everybody. Absolutely everybody. For any skill level. And what's so brilliant is they all offer a challenge. Simple, easy, and so rich. He certainly is. And he's a fascinating guy. Now, I've spoken to Knizia. I had him on the show. And I interviewed him for the podcast. And it was funny because there was quite a rigmarole to get him to come on. So I wrote to his assistant, and his assistant wrote back with sort of a list, a form of questions I had to fill in. And one of the questions was my address. And I thought, I'm asking the guy for an interview. Why does he need to know my address? It seems odd. So I just left the address out. I wrote what the podcast was and all the other questions he asked me. And I got an email back the next day saying, before we can proceed, you need to put your address in, which is so weird. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a thing in the form and he's German and it has all the ticks have to be. And I was quite nervous. I was quite nervous with him. I've been nervous for interviewing a few guests. Not many, but a few. Richard Garfield, I was exceptionally nervous to interview. And Knizia, I was a bit nervous to interview for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because it's Reiner Knizia, right? He is the sort of god king of modern board game design. And also, I'd seen him in interviews and stuff, and I was a little concerned that he might be a bit boring. And, I worked as an English teacher for 10 years. And often I worked one-on-one with people. And when people were talkative and loquacious, it was just simply fantastic, right? It was so easy. You were getting paid for nothing, essentially, for having a chat. It was great. But occasionally, I remember one guy in particular, he answered everything with one-word answers. And he seemed to understand all of my questions, but would answer with one-word answers. And I had 90 minutes teaching this guy. And it was frankly the most torturous 90 minutes I had. And I was worried that maybe Knizia would be like that, that I would ask him a question and he would consider the question stupid, or he would give me a one-word answer. And I had him on the show, and it was one of the first I did in 5G for Day. And frankly, it was fantastic. He was really engaging. He is a man who really takes his art form seriously. I've seen quotes from him. Did he say it on my show? I can't remember. Maybe on my show, or I might have read it where he said, I didn't have time for a family and children because I was too busy making games, and all of these games are my children, which is an incredible commitment, I think. And I think I think part of the reason he's so prolific is that it's all he thinks about. He's completely obsessed. I'm listening to an audio book at the moment about Derek Parfit, the eminent British philosopher of the late 20th century. And the guy who's writing is an ex-student of his, and he says basically, Parfit in his last 30 to 40 years of life, if you didn't want to talk to him about philosophy, he wouldn't talk to you. He had no skills to talk about anything other than philosophy. And Knizia strikes me like that kind of person, right? That he's just completely obsessed with games, game design, and he seems like a man who's never going to retire because it's not work for him. It's a calling. It's an obsession. I think it's absolutely fascinating. Right, I'm going to play another song now. I'm going to play another song, and then we'll go into my geek list of games, and you can tell me if I'm an idiot. That's a C chord there. Look. I'm such a terrible guitarist. It's untrue. All right. So this is, I got to move the capo up, but it's all right on the 4th fret. It's all right. Ooh, that didn't sound good. Oh, yeah. Lovely. Listen to that. Honestly, I don't know what I'd do if I didn't know how to play the guitar. This is how I feel about Scorsese, but he's the dream to interview as he's so passionate about his craft. Exactly. And I think there's a difference between Knizia and Scorsese, though. Knizia doesn't give a shit about anyone else's work. He just does not care. Other people's work is completely incidental to him. I asked him on the show, you don't play other people's stuff? And he basically said, no, I don't. Whereas Scorsese is a real film nerd as well, right? He's a complete film nerd. He's seen absolutely everything. And by the way, he's right about bloody Marvel movies. And I saw all of these people. It blew my mind when Scorsese came out and said they're not movies. They're just fucking content. And so many people came out like slagging off Martin Scorsese, the director of Goodfellas, Raging Bull, defending fucking Iron Man against Scorsese. It blows my fucking mind. The disrespect. Unbelievable. Anyway, so Matt Green says, and he's an eminent game designer, so he knows what he's talking about. For me, Knizia's games have always provided the backdrop to the hobby, the perpetual point of reference for good and well designed. Absolutely. And that's a sort of a quasi kind of academic thing. On a simple player's perspective, you can be fairly sure if you get a Knizia game and you put it on the table, it's not going to be a waste of time. Some are a lot better than others, and I'm sure that there are some. I mean, he's published 7,000, right? So I'm sure there are some dogs, but I've never played them. And if you play any of the kind of established ones, you just know that they are gonna fill 45 minutes of your life up, and it's gonna be useful time spent. And yeah, good and well designed. He's the reference point for good and well designed. Very well said. Right, this is a Bell and Sebastian song. It's the first song off their Boy with the Arab Strap album. It's called It Could Have Been a Brilliant Career. I like this one. He had a stroke at the age of 24. It could have been a brilliant career. Painting lines in a school that was too well known. Painting lines with a friend who had gone before. She challenged everyone to a fight, but the people all backed down, and they ran her out of town, 'cause she drank and swore and spoke. Out of turn she was the village joke. She had a stroke at the age of 24. It could have been a brilliant career, getting clients to finance her strategies. She's filling the time in its safe ways on Saturday. She wears the clothes of an emperor, but her paintings are a sham. And they're going for $1,000 when the dealers come to view. Do they ever see the real you? He had a stroke at the age of 24. It could have been a brilliant career, selling lies to the boy with the old nonsense. Pulling the wall, playing the fool, it's no wonder that his traveling's bit tonight, and the one he sent away was the only one who stayed. With a spoon and a decent book, you can tell by the way she looks, he is sorry and resigned, as he wets himself for the final time. Yeah, I was a flat like a couple of notes there, but it's all right, isn't it? It's all right. There are worse singers in the world. Yeah, that's a Bell and Sebastian song. Okay, right. I've set this up pre-stream. So I think, so if I do this, whoa, and you can see me, I'll do this one instead. Whoa, you can see me at the same time, because that's what you're here for, my beautiful face. You can see me and the games. All right, so I just put these in no particular order. I just went through my app and looked at the Knizia games I've played. And I just want to sort of discuss these games. And the first one is the one he sort of, I guess, in many ways most renowned for, which is Tigris and Euphrates. And tell me in the comments what you think of this one, because I played it once and it wasn't explained to me brilliantly, and I played the whole game and didn't really bloody know what I was doing. And people tell me it's absolutely fantastic, and it was, revolutionary when it came out. And I was completely befuddled, which is unusual for a Knizia game, because it just I don't know, was this heavy at the time it came out? Was this the bar of heavy games? Because I remember when I first got into gaming, Trajan was just coming out, and that was considered the sort of bar of heavy games, right? It was one of the heaviest ones around. And I play Trajan fairly often still, because it's fantastic. And Trajan is just medium weight, I think. It is not a heavy game in comparison to, and I think when you think about weight, it's so fascinating. T&E is like Jesus, seems nice, shame about the fan club. And I think it's fascinating with weight, is that it's very much a movable feast, right? In that, it just perceptions of what is heavy and what isn't changes over time. And I wonder, for instance, we're seeing a massive influx of light, accessible war games. And whereas Eurogames, what is heavy in a Eurogame has shifted now, towards Vital Lacerda and things like that. I wonder if war games, what is heavy now, will get lighter and people will start. I don't know, maybe. But it's fascinating with Eurogames. Tigris and Euphrates is one of those. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't around. I wasn't playing games when it came out. But was it heavy for the time? But this is when I really need to play some more, and I need to read the rules before I play it. You know what I mean? Now, this one is an absolute. This one is absolutely fantastic. This is one I bought because I love trick-taking games, and I bought this at the Essen it was released, and it must. So Peter says, Trajan is fabulous, much more a medium game. The complexity is there through the choices, but even those are limited. I hate the bogged down million mechanics. The only heavy game I like is Lisboa. I like Lisboa. I did not take to Weather Machine. And I bought this, and somehow I managed to read 2 pages of rules wrong because I played it and I thought, oh, what the fuck is this? And then at the fabulous gathering of chums, Tony Boydell's annual convention, the eminent Matt Green got it out and we played it. And this is an absolutely spectacular trick-taking game. I think in many ways this is typical of Knizia in many ways, in that he takes an established form and he just tweaks one thing. And what is so brilliant about this is the way you score points is, you score the points in front of everyone. So you, apart from yourself, and you want to be the penultimate person out. But if you're the last person out of the round, you only score the tricks in front of you. And it is a brilliant balancing act, deciding when to win tricks and when not. And that's when a trick-taking game is absolutely spectacular, is when where both losing and winning tricks is advantageous at different times. And Richard Trout says, I've never had access to a copy, but I have the reputation in the form of Marshmallow Test. Why do people still talk about Voodoo Prince? Well, I don't know. I've heard a rumor that Marshmallow Test is Voodoo Prince without the special cards in it, which blows my mind. If that is the case, if they've removed the special cards, which is the split cards and the zeros beating the biggest number and all of that, because well, firstly, they offer so much peril and humor into the game. And great trick-taking games are funny. These kinds of single trick-taking games. I'm sure Bridge, and I've played at a whist drive, and I remember I went to this whist drive and we would move around the tables and we get a different partner each turn. And I was playing with this hatchet-faced old woman. And I was 11 or something. And I played this card and it was the wrong card. And my God, the look she gave me was frankly unbelievable. But these games, this is, it's from Schmidt-Spieler, it's from the Skull King stable, and it has that humor when you slap someone and they have to split their tricks and all of this, and it is pure Knizia design, fabulous Knizia design, and don't get Marshmallow Test if what I hear is true. Get this one because it's better than that, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's some criticism. All right, the next one, Blue Lagoon. Blue Lagoon. So, as far as I can see, Knizia had something of a... When I got into the hobby, he was a name that floated around, but he was not... He was no longer as significant as he was. And he's had a sort of renaissance in the last few years, I think. And it maybe started around the time of Blue Lagoon. And again, Blue Lagoon is just one of these ingenious Knizia designs where you do one thing. You do one thing. And yet, from that one thing, the ramifications of that decision just balloon out like ripples in a pool. It is absolutely brilliant game design. I did my top 100 last year, sort of fairly recently, and just the same theme kept coming up, which was simplicity and depth, simplicity and depth. And Knizia is just the archetype of simplicity and depth. There is no designer, I think, that is able to squeeze so much profundity out of the fewest mechanics. And Blue Lagoon is just brilliant. And I don't own it to my shame. And I really should, because it is absolutely fantastique. And if you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. And then Beneath It is one of his best games ever. It is from that golden period in the 90s where he was designing auction games. And indeed, High Society is just there's a few elements to High Society that make it just fantastic, right? And that is, so firstly, the way, so I'm sure most people watching this are familiar, but it's an auction game in which you're buying things and you have to play cards. And once you play a card, and the cards have values and they're your sort of bids. And once you play a card, it's out of the game and you don't get to use that card again. And they're of different values, but they're spread out in a particular way. This game really highlights his mathematical brilliance in game design, because the way the values of the cards and the kicker, I mentioned the most important thing, the single most important thing in this game is the person who spent the most money at the end of the game gets 0 points. Not even 0 points, just loses, cannot win the game, is last place, which is brilliant. And then when you couple that with the values of the cards and the way they're spread out, there is this real tension when you're playing cards, hoping that you just don't have, because you look at something and it's very tempting. But if you spend too much money, that's it. You're ruined. You're ruined. And he's so clever and so tense. And like great Knizia games, it is short, easy. This plays in 20 minutes, and but it's a proper game. It's not a filler for me. What you get from this game is full nourishment, not just, that kills 15 minutes. So Paul says, we played Viewed Prince last year at Field of Games with some new friends. I don't recall exactly how it played, but I do remember the laughs we had playing it. Exactly. And this kind of trick-taking game is all about the laughs. But High Society, High Society, the new version by Osprey is beautiful. And it is one of the great games of all time, not just by Knizia, by any designer. It is spectacular. It is, and this is what people don't realize about Knizia too. His games can be brutal, nasty. You can end up just being absolutely shafted, and High Society is all of that. Absolutely brilliant. I played Llama quite a lot when it came out. And I can't remember a bloody thing about it. And I remember enjoying it, and I remember it being simple, but it is not a game that has lived well in the memory, I don't think. I think, and it got nominated for Spiel des Jahres, which was amazing. I got to speak to Knizia at that ceremony that year. And the thing is about Spiel des Jahres is I have faith in Spiel des Jahres. I think Spiel des Jahres winners generally tend to be pretty great. And while I love Knizia, I really wouldn't have been happy with Llama winning. I don't think it's a game of the year. Now, this next one is also indicative of another side of Knizia, rather than the brilliant board game designer, the guy the one that just spunks games out as if, he can't stop, right? And I played this game Longboard, and I know nothing about it. It is one of the most unremarkable games I've ever played. Not bad. I don't remember being angry that it was a terrible game, but really, really not interesting either. And this is the thing. And the next one, the Miskatonic Restricted Collection, a really nice push your luck game, but not one that sticks in the memory particularly. Right, I'm going to play another song before I talk about these next two games, because these might be two of the best games I've ever played ever in my life. You know what I mean? So I'm going to play a Smith song, because it's winter, we're miserable, and there's nothing that cheers you up more than Morrissey. You know what I mean? And everyone knows this. This is a very famous one. This. Take me out tonight, where there's music and there's people who are young and alive. Driving in your car, I never want to go home, because I haven't got one anymore. Take me out tonight, because I want to see people and I want to see lights. And driving in your car, oh please don't drop me home, because it's not my home, it's their home, and I welcome them all. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side, such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. Take me out tonight. Oh, take me anywhere, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. And in the darkened underpass, I thought, oh God, my chances come at last. But then a strange fear gripped me and I just couldn't ask. Take me out tonight. Oh, take me anywhere, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. And driving in your car, I never want to go home, because I haven't got one. I haven't got one. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side, such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There you go, Morrissey. He's a happy chap, isn't he? If there is, oh, there's Costin. Hello, Costin. How's it going? Knizia groupie, damn right. Paul, thank you. Cracking choice of songs. I tell you what, though, I think one of the I'm going to get all Marxist for you right now. I think one of the biggest. Oh, it's Matt Curtis. Hello, Matt Curtis. One of the biggest sort of middle class childish affectations is that, you know, someone says something you don't like, so all of the brilliant stuff they've done in the past is completely pointless and you're not allowed to listen to it and you're completely immoral. What a load of shit. The older I get, the more I am convinced that I am a separate the art from the artist absolutist. You have to be, otherwise what kind of life are you leading when you deny yourself listening to such brilliance or reading such brilliance or watching such brilliance because the person who created it's a bellend? Let me tell you something. Everyone's a bellend. It's just a fact. So Calvin Ross is saying, catching up on the start of the video, you're a damn spitting image of Malcolmus in the Pavement cover. Nice work. Thank you very much. I'm a bit more Bob Nastanovich body-wise than Stephen Malcolmus, though, at the moment, unfortunately. That's why I'm having a month of abstinence from the boozy booze. Yeah, so back to Knizia. These two fucking games. So let's start with Modern Art. I think this is my favorite Knizia. He takes auctions, an established thing that's been around for thousands of years. Have you ever read Sebastian Hall's biography? It's one of the best books I've ever read, but he's a massive bellend. No, I haven't. And yeah, no doubt he is. Everyone's a bellend. You ask anyone, there is nobody in the world that you can't find someone who went, yeah, he's a bellend. And what even if they're, I mean, the thing is, and what's the, so I don't agree. I assume with Morris's politics, though I'm not entirely sure I know what his politics are. But I assume I don't agree with his politics. But my God, you can't deny his voice. You can't deny his voice, and you can't deny his songs. His solo stuff. I mean, that one tune, you know, the first of the gang with the gun in his hand, brilliant. I mean, just fucking brilliant. And why would you deny yourself that? Because he's a twat. I don't know. Maybe he isn't a twat. The one thing of all the stupid things Morrissey has said, the one thing that made me think, wow, this guy's a fucking 24-carat dickhead, is when he demanded that his autobiography be published by Penguin Classics. Fuck off. You're not allowed to make that decision, mate, whether it's a classic or not. You're not allowed to make that decision. Wait. Let the people decide. Anyway, so yeah, Modern Art. It is everything you want for a game, right? I'm getting to that in a minute, Costin. True, lost profits. So I'm fortunate in that I never heard them. So I don't know what they're like. With lost. So I have no comment, and I'm not going into lost profits on this stream. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of them, so I can't say. But Modern Art, woof. So it's everything you want from a game, right? You often get people, when they're talking about what is a great game, they will have this argument. There are people who will say, it's got to be fun. That's the bare thing. It's the only thing about games. It's got to be fun. And by fun, when people say fun, I think they mean laughing and riotous and all of that sort of stuff. And then there are other people who demand that games be thoughtful and deep. And Knizia in Modern Art manages to do both. This is a game of intense strategy. that is really complex to be good at, because you're not just messing with the mechanics of the game, you're messing with the people around the table, but at the same time it's riotous. And you know, you fall into that thing of putting like the painting on the easel and then explaining it to the rest of the people to encourage them to buy it and that. And it is a party game, it is a strategy game, it is and often people stick auctions into a game as a way of just ramping up the fun, giving you something to do. Whereas modern art, it doesn't feel bolted on. It is a perfect auction game. It is a perfect game. I think on my top 100, it's fourth now, because there's a couple of games that I think are better than modern art. But this is just brilliant. So Calvin says, I went on a date with a guy just because he had this charming man tattooed on his neck. I wonder how he feels about Morrissey now. I mean, as far as I can see, the way to feel about Morrissey is bell end. Woof, what a voice, though. I saw him live once at a festival, and it was hilarious. I was stood at the back. Firstly, he was a fucking rock star. He put on a hell of a show. Absolutely fan-fucking-tastic show. Really good. But it's so funny. It was V Festival in Stoke-on-Trent. Woof, Stoke's rough. And I'm stood watching Morrissey, and occasionally people would just walk by and they were miles away from the stage going, "Get a fucking twat! Get a fucking twat!" And, you know, I mean, Morrissey wasn't going to hear it, but he generates that kind of ire, Stephen Morrissey. And I'd like to meet him once, and I wonder whether he is a bellend. He's definitely a bellend. Anyway, so this is not only the most criminally underrated game ever made, I think. It used to be Dogs of War for me, but I think this has taken over. But it is also just amazing. Stevensons Rocket. I played it a couple of weeks ago again. And this is Knizia at his meanest. So this is this thing about Knizia. He hears there's a thing called a train game, and I think he has a vague sort of idea of what it is, and then he just shoots it through his own particular prism of genius. And this game is mean, and it is nasty and intensely thoughtful. And so the thing I always say about Knizia that people don't really think about, I think, with Knizia, is that because he's quite a dry German and his games tend to be not hugely thematic, but Knizia is singularly able to pull the levers in a person's psyche. He is so great game design for me. Now there are I know there's definitely one game designer, but probably a couple of game designers watching this. And tell me if I'm talking bollocks. But one aspect of brilliant game design is incentives, right? Is incentivizing the player to do the thing that's interesting. So I took extreme exception to the game Gugong. And it was because the game encouraged me to do the thing that was boring. And that really bothered me because great game design is about the game designer manipulating you to do the fun thing. Stevensons Rocket. And also he also puts that sort of idea of manipulating the person onto the player too, the way you place the stations, hoping that people go through them, and the way that you'll hold onto your shares so you can veto at just the right time. It is Kay Sweeney, yo, what's up? And it is just so good and so mean and so exciting. This is a top 10 game for me. And it blows my mind that no one talks about Stevenson's Rocket when they talk about Knizia. It is one of his best. It is just so good. It's so good. And if you haven't played it, and this is, now I don't know what happened. I've heard rumors that when you publish a Knizia game, he has a long list of demands that you have to fulfill. I don't know what happened with Grail Games. But I can tell you their production of Stevensons Rocket is flawless. The ever fragrant Ian O'Toole does the art and the graphic design for it. It is flawless in its production. It's beautiful. It comes with an extra map, and it's such a shame Grail Games aren't doing Knizia games anymore, because they were really on a roll. And David Harding seems to know what he's doing, though since they got bought by Matago, I'm not quite sure what they're doing anymore, Grail Games, unfortunately. All right, next song. So if anyone has a request for a song, please let me know. I mean, I've got some stuff here. What do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to play a Ween song, because I should always play a Ween song every week, because Ween are the best band ever, of course. So I'll play. This is a song off a Rarities album, and it's brilliant. And I never. The old 2 version is Gert Lush. It certainly is Gert Lush. New Grandaddy out this year, so a Grandaddy. You know, they were one of those bands. They were one of those bands that I heard of, and I have no bloody idea. I've never heard a Grandaddy song, I don't think. They were one of those sort of hipster Britpoppy bands, and I have no idea. So unfortunately, I can't play a Grandaddy song. But tell me a song that's really good, and I might learn it for a subsequent stream. So this is called "Things You Already Know" by Ween, and I'm gonna fuck it up. Grab that pen and I'll sail you around the world in my yacht. Oh, you got it, girl. So I messed it up already. I went to A and not B. I'm going to start again. See, because I'm doing bar chords, and it sounded out of tune as well on my guitar. The E's a bit flat. I'm doing bar chords, and I need to look at the guitar, but also face the microphone at the same time. And look at the music. It's hard. You know what they say about crap people and multitasking? You know what I mean? Grab that pen and I'll sail you around the world in my yacht. Oh, you got it, girl. I can promise you. Start again. I'm really sorry. This time I won't mess it up. Grab that pen and I'll sail you around the world in my yacht. Oh, you got it, girl. I can promise you the moon and stars. You just give me your heart. See them over there, just back beyond the changing room. Yeah, those two think they've got it made like I do. They're just jealous of you. Don't bother to question the things you already know, like I love you so. Sundown and the natives got their fists up in the air. Oh, they're everywhere. I'll show you how to defuse a bomb if you just give me your heart. What's that? You say you had some feelings hid away. I can handle this today. I may be the man you are not, so just give me your heart. Don't bother to question the things you already know, like I love you so. Screw you if you wanna be with that dude in the grass skirt. Oh, my feelings won't be hurt. You're in beneath the dirt. Guess who won't have your heart? Couldn't promise you the moon and stars. You just give me your heart. I messed that up a little bit, but it's all right, isn't it? It's a good tune. I highly recommend that. I'm just back taking my son to his guitar lessons. I assume he's much better than I am on the guitar. That would be my guess. Because I've been playing the guitar for years, and I'm still crappy. And if you listened to the resolutions episode the other day on the podcast, I've got to write 5 songs before the end of the year, and I've written 1 already. That's good, isn't it? It's crap, but, I've written it already. So let's carry on then. So at this year's Chums, good tune, Blackbird, Paul McCartney. Look, play it and sing it at the same time? No bloody chance. I'm crap on the guitar, as I've just said. Sunrise Lane. Woof. This is classic, mediocre Knizia. I played it a few times, and I was saying to people that I think if you just got into the hobby, and this is one of the first few games you ever played, you'd go, bloody hell, this is brilliant. It's so simple, and yet it's so strategic, and it's not a bad game. But it's utterly forgettable, utterly mediocre, which is a shame because it's horrible games, and I really like those guys. And I really want them to have a big hit at some point. And Sunrise Lane ain't it. But the next one, I played this for the first time about 3 weeks ago, Through the Desert. My God, this is great. So Knizia has this whole range of abstract games. And Through the Desert, it's just so... I guess there's a new version that's not going to have the gummy markers. I'm not interested in it. Those camels that look like gummy sweets are just the greatest. And this is... it's again brilliant Knizia because it doesn't take long to play. So we played it and I was crap and I didn't know what I was doing. And then once I played it once, I thought, I kind of have an idea of what this is now. And so the second game, I tripled my score or something stupid. And it is just so great. It's just so knotty. And it's a really difficult balancing act, I think. It's a real balancing act to do multiplayer abstract games, and Through the Desert does it brilliantly. And Matt's right, Through the Desert is absolute warfare from turn 1, and this is again. I keep saying, so I've been playing a lot of Ticket to Ride recently, and I never really played much Ticket to Ride before, and the thing about family games, what a lot of new family game producers don't realize, is that what makes a family game great is that it's nasty, that you can screw over your dad. This is, and Ticket to Ride is mean, and I love that. Through the Desert is mean. And again, you can explain it in 2 seconds. And it is brilliant. And Matt is absolutely right. Absolute warfare from turn 1. If you were to write a song about abstract games, what would it sound like? Chromatic, I think. Yes. There we go. That's my... It's not because I'm playing TTR Legacy. I said in my last video, my last YouTube video, that I'm kind of done with legacy games. And like I probably will get to TTR Legacy at some point because everyone says it's fantastic. But I'm just fed up with ripping shit up and adding loads of rules. And people telling me that, Clank Legacy, I learned how to play D&D through Acquisitions Incorporated, and they're the IP for Clank Legacy. And yet people tell me the games take hours, and I'm just not interested. But I'll probably give TTR a go. So I'm going to say something controversial now. I think Ra is fine, and everyone says it's one of the great Knizia auction games. I think it's fine. I'm not a big fan of it. And Shot and Totten is absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. And Shot and Totten 2, I didn't understand it. It's rubbish. It has weird rules that I didn't understand it. But Schottentotten, it's just, again, perfect, simple, two-player game that is just, it's just unbelievable. I can't recommend it enough. Yeah, exactly. I assume that's a reaction to my Ra comment. I've played Ra now 4 or 5 times, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm not doubting that it's brilliant. Yeah, I'm not doubting that it's brilliant, but I just don't get it. Every action is a reaction. The randomness allows for tactical and push your luck in a way not many games do. I need to play it again. I played it twice when I was down in Dusseldorf with the ever domineering Karthik Sethi. And no, I need to play it again. But I really love, again, this is Traumfabrik, redone as Nightmare Productions. And it's brilliant. It's just fantastic. It's such a great, simple game. And it's silly and it's fun. Ra is sanitized Medici. So Matt was talking earlier on the Discord. So I might as well say it here because we got someone who joined the Discord from last week's stream. Go at 5G4D.com and there is a pin post at the top and you can join the Discord. And Matt was saying on the Discord that he thinks Medici is Knizia's best game. I've not played Medici, but I need to play it. Okay, reprint Confrontation. So I have the original printing. A listener sent me a copy of Confrontation because everyone said it's fantastic. And while War of the Ring is clearly the best Lord of the Rings game, Confrontation is fucking great. It's really good. Again, simple Knizia design. And it's a really great, what's that game? Stratego? It's like a really great Stratego. And Armin Ray is brilliant. Armin Ray is the one where auctions are sort of just a factor in the game. That it's a Euro game with auctions as a mechanic, and it's really, really great. I played it once, and I was really, really, really impressed with Armin Ray. I need to play this again. Quest for El Dorado. This is another one of these Knizia things. Like 15 years after deck building's a thing, he makes a deck builder. And it's fine. I think this was really well regarded. It was nominated for Kennerspiel, I think. And Armin Ray has the game board wipe at halfway. Yeah, it does, as I remember, which is great, I think. And this Quest for El Dorado, it's fine. Fine. Again, Mille Fiori. I was really excited about Mille Fiori. And yeah. And it didn't bounce off me, Mille Fiori. Like, I played it a few times and I quite enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. I did not love it. So I ended up selling it in the end. And fine. Oh, no. Oh, I got 2 more. And so Witchstone is a Stefan Feld game, right? Basically. And so speaking to Knizia about this, as far as I know, he rarely designs with other people, and this one was basically the guy had used the what's the abstract game? Can someone put it in the comments? The copies Witchstone. And so they approached Knizia and he got his name on the box. But Witchstone's really good. It's a really solid point salad Feld-esque Eurogame. It's a good one. I highly recommend. And finally, Wildlife Safari, also known as Botswana. Now, the inimitable Tony Boydell often will write on his blog about Botswana, and he writes these stupid Mornington Crescent-esque blogs where they introduce loads of different rules. But this is brilliant. If you've never played this one, it's just a game of playing cards and collecting animals and scoring animals based on the animals you've collected, and it's super simple, and yet it's so clever. I really need a copy of this. It is so clever. It is so entertaining. There is a whole world of Knizia, which is just little 20-minute games that are just absolutely perfect. And Botswana is that. Right, I'm going to play one more song. And I think, because on the Discord, I had a request for a Rufus Wainwright song. So I'm going to play my favorite Rufus Wainwright. That was easy to say. My favorite Rufus Wainwright song. Unfortunately, it's got B7 in it, and I hate playing B7. I can never play it. That's B7. I'm not very good at playing it. But this is my favorite Rufus Wainwright song, I think. It's a cracker. And I'm going to hopefully not fuck it up, as they say. All right. You got my... Hang on, do I need it? I don't need a capo. You got my last brother's soul, dear mother's eyes, brown horse's mane, my uncle's name. You walk me down 14th Street for the doctor to meet after the thoughts of the grave, home of the brave and of the weak. Why'd you have to break all my heart? Couldn't you have saved a little bit of it? Why'd you have to break all my heart? Couldn't you have saved a minor part? I could have slipped and saved and planted in the garden. Damn, you guess I'll have to get a new one. I love to sit and watch you drink. It rains to the world, dripping of smoke, vaguely missing lane. Don't ever change, you hungry little bashful hound. I got the sheep pull it up, Bo Peep was lost and filed for grounds. But why'd you have to break all my heart? Couldn't you have saved a little bit of it? Why'd you have to break all my heart? Couldn't you have saved a minor part? Could have ripped apart and thrown into the river. Hope there is a heart that will deliver. Don't ever change, don't ever worry. I'm coming back home tomorrow to 14th Street, where I won't hurry. Well, I will learn how to say, not just borrow, and there'll be rainbow. And we'll finally know. Why'd you have to break all my heart? Couldn't you have saved a little bit of it? Why'd you have to break all my heart? Couldn't you have saved a minor part of it? Why'd you have to break all my heart? Couldn't you have saved a little bit of it? Why'd you have to break all my heart? Couldn't you have saved a minor part of it? Oh, I fucked that one up. Anyway, there we go. Rufus Wainwright. I don't know any Tim Wainwright. Loudon Wainwright III. I don't. Tim Buckley was what I was thinking of. Loudon Wainwright III. Then I'll take your word for it. I'll give it a listen because you can listen to everything now. Bernard Butler. Save for next time. I quite like that first Suede album. Anyway, so the football started. Liverpool are playing in the League Cup semi-final against Fulham. I didn't put bloody Samurai on the list. Matt, Samurai's amazing. It's one of my favorite. I completely forgot it. I discovered this at LyriaCon this year. Samurai is fantastic. It is genuinely brilliant. Again, brilliant Knizia abstract. Completely original. Just, you play it and you go, wow, this is amazing. And the thing is about Knizia, if, there was an unknown apocalypse and you had to flee to a cabin in the woods that could only take 5-year games with you, take Knizia games. You're sorted, apart from Through the Ages. Anyway, so that's everything. Thank you so much for coming to this week's stream. If you have questions you want to ask, if you have song requests you want, so I could learn them in the week, or anything you want to talk about this stream, how you think it can be improved, what you think can be better, what you think is worse, what you like, what you hate, you can go to the Discord. As I said, 5gfd.com. Pin post, you get an entrance to the Discord, and there's a server, the stream server. And so thank you so much for joining me on this stream. I'm going to go and watch Liverpool play Fulham, And I shall see you funky cats next week. Boom. Oh, before I go, tomorrow my anticipated games of 2024 is coming out at 1600 German time, 1500 British time, and sometime in America. Keep it reals.